what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it. All right, so yeah, Garrett Dellinger. This is not good here. He gets a high ankle sprain, we now know, against Texas A&M. He has had that tightrope surgery, of course, made famous, I would say, kind of by the Alabama team a few years ago. Was that 2019 when Tua had the tightrope? Yeah. I'm not entirely, right? Yeah, it was a big deal going into that game. So now the shoe's on the other ankle as LSU will be dealing with the tightrope to a key player. And he will not be available this week and could be back immediately after that, just to give you an idea of how crazy that surgery is. That said, Jake, this is not an ideal loss given that Alabama's biggest weakness, at least statistically this year defensively, has been stopping the run. LSU's biggest weakness has been running the ball. And I don't think it's going to get any easier to do so when you lose your guy with 41 games played, 30 starts, and you replace him with a freshman in Paul Mabinga.
He's kind of a road grader, too. It's kind of like, what Dellinger's been known for.
Yes, you're talking about run blocking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so Alabama is 12th in rush defense in the SEC. Like T-Bob said, they give up 144.5 yards on the ground. The only teams that give up more, Florida and Mississippi State. And so it is something they have struggled with, and you would love to have Garrett Dellinger in there because of the guys that have been struggling blocking in the run game. He hasn't really been one of them.
No.
It's kind of been his strong suit there. So it is a blow. There's no way to say it any other way. And you already were, but now you're even more so incredibly thin on the offensive line.
Yeah.
You were already pretty much 6 guys, and now you're 5 guys. Because, somebody like Borderline, well, you got him in the game plan for tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And, so if he had to go in the game, you lose that portion of your playbook as well.
Am I missing something on Tyree Adams?
Yeah, he got hurt.
He is hurt. Okay,
he's out.
Okay. That's what I was trying to remember there because he was originally kind of your 6th man up. So, I mean, even in going to Mabinga, that wasn't necessarily even your first 6th man.
No.
And look, if you are Kane Womack, obviously you look at something like this and you start to try to scheme to exploit this, whether it's games or trying to confuse him in run looks or more probably trying to confuse his pass protection rules in, obvious passing situations. It again just reinforces even more why staying on schedule is going to be so important this game, keeping Alabama off of schedule. And I don't know how good I feel about those elements, Jake. And granted, after the show today, I'm going to immediately start watching Alabama coaches tape. And because I wanted to kind of flesh out, okay, what are my surface level thoughts just from kind of watching the two teams play throughout the year and what I know about them, and then see if those thoughts change, more research I do. But my first thought on this game, Jake, is on the whole, I don't feel great. And I think there's a couple elements at play here. First, I know that it's not Nick Saban anymore, but I think there is a brand element in this where this game has not gone very well for LSU the past, 15 years, whatever you want to say. It's not been, this is generally a week in which I work myself up into a bloodlust raging fervor, only to be disappointed on Saturday. Now, when you weren't disappointed, there's some of the best memories ever, but that's kind of the exception, not the rule. And I know that's different now, but it's impossible, I think, for my brain to fully get there. And then secondly, one thing that I think is hurting kind of my early outlook on this game, Jake, is just the last time we saw the two teams. LSU's second half collapse was about as bad as you will ever see, and Alabama looked really solid, beating Mizzou 34-0. Like a team that was starting to round into form a little bit. And then lastly here, I feel, and this is one we explore a bit more, but I feel as if on paper, kind of like we just talked about with the run game, you're not particularly well suited to taking advantage of where Alabama's weak. And maybe less arguably, not particularly well suited taking advantage where Alabama's strong. So again, Tiger Stadium, you got to show up. That's a thing that kind of like the Ole Miss week, you're putting all your hopes in once again, that Death Valley magic coming through. But again, all these opinions are subject to change. It's just my first thoughts on the game, just thinking about it.
You're going to have to run the football to win the game, and it is something that they don't stop well, and it's something you don't do really well. And we talked about it, I think it was yesterday, Tate. We were talking about the Arkansas game and what you did in that game as far as the scheme. And I loved kind of the stretch zone that you were running. You got everybody going east and west, and you're not a north and south physical run team. That's just not who you are. But in that game, you got guys going sideways a little bit, and you allowed the running backs to read it, put their foot in the ground when they saw the read, and then they went north and south. And it wasn't like you had the best day ever. You didn't run for 300-something yards, but you ran for about 150, or somewhere close to that.
You average 115 dead last in the SEC, so a very good day by your standards.
And it kind of kept you on schedule against Arkansas. Like, I think you need to implement some more of those type of runs. And this is a team that, we thought would be able to line up and run some gap scheme, run some counter in camp. They did a really nice job in the first game. I mean, remember how many they ran? Mm-hmm. And look, teams were blowing it up. They were blowing it up in the backfield. It's just not what you can get done. The zone read game, we know that's completely out because you have a quarterback that right now is not going to pull the football. So they're adding an extra defender literally every time that you do it. And so you have to find ways and you have to find the scheme that allows you to run the ball and be effective running the ball. And they didn't do that against Texas A&M. We all know that, right? You got to kind of get back to something a little bit different, play to your strengths, go back and watch and chart the Arkansas game. That's the one that I think they actually did a really nice job based off scheme of getting the running game going.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.